Okay, so hello everybody, and welcome back to our third talk. It's our third talk, wow. And we've got Isadora here joining us today from Serbia. So we were just working out the time difference, but it's not too bad. And I guess Isadora's been on our sort of radar. We've been seeing her work and her practice and what she does. And Isadora comes in my world through Instagram, through her website. So we're going to kind of evaluate the work that she posts. What's her process? How does she operate? And also that lovely image behind her as well, which has all them eyes and faces. And we see plenty of this online, so it's good to see. I'd like to see the whole of that wall full. You've got to fill it full.
Yes, that's my plan.
That should be the goal. So the next time it's going to be full. And I think that would be a really good move for you. So I'm just going to share my screen with everybody and we can see some of Isadora's work. And we're just going to have a little scour through her website because I think that's, a lot of the artists, I guess, have issues with websites and what should they do and how do they get more followers. And I guess so what I'd like to hear from you first, Isadora, is how did you get into fashion illustration? What was your journey and how did you get to here? So you can talk.
Yes, it's quite interesting because I studied pharmacy, actually, nothing related to fashion. And in 2019, I just wanted to start drawing when I was on my final year of university. And I always loved, I don't know, street style. I love some illustration that I saw earlier. But in 2019, I said myself, why did I have to start something? I have to draw. And that's basically how it started.
And because you have kind of like I've taught at universities fashion illustration and I've taught different techniques, but you have a very Milanese style. So the Italians, you use Pantones. You have a very sort of a technique that we would associate with the Italian way of working, using Pantones or pens or markers. So it has a very traditional sort of fashion illustration for design. How did you come across this way of working, or did it just happen?
It just happened. I started to draw, and I was drawing anything, and I wanted to be better, to draw something that I like. I love details. If you can see on my works, I love lines. I love lettering also. So it just happened slowly, slowly.
And I guess so for an image like this or an image like this, what sort of approach are you using for these techniques and styles? So you're using pencils, Pantone, coloring pencils. At what size are they? How do you work?
I'm using markers mostly, alcohol markers. I love to layer them, especially they're brush markers. It's easy to layer and to get that glowy look if you see from my illustrations. And on top of markers, I use a little bit of pencil, but on that Fendi illustration, I used also collage. If you see that F's are just cutouts with paper, and that's it.
So you get that very graphic look.
Yes, yes.
Like a hit rather than the marker look, which is quite nice. We see a lot of people when they want flat colors, they tend to do a lot of collage and a lot of cutouts, which you're doing.
Yes.
Seems to work really nice. And you've got some really nice typography happening here with some sort of blends in that Louis Vuitton font, which is nice.
That's
quite interesting. And do you get many commissions? Where do you get, if you're going to get a commission, where would it mainly come through? Through your website or through Instagram, or where, if you were going to get any work?
From Instagram mostly, and that's just clients that call me to do something, I don't know, design based. Not that commercial illustrations that I would love to do, but just design works.
So when you say design works, does that mean working alongside a designer as an illustrator?
Like flats and I don't know, full body and that kind of works.
And so, because this is something we're bringing up quite a lot at the moment, is about the role of a fashion illustrator or as a designer. Is I'm starting to see that there's a bit of a desire for illustrators to work with designers again and to illustrate collections like flats, technicals, designing the collection. That's why your technique really works. So where would most of your work come from? Which countries?
I think America,
The US.
Asia, and that's all I think.
And and is that just by luck, or it just happens on Instagram, or do you target them? What do you do?
I think that they follow me on Instagram and they see something that I do and they love it. They love the details I use, textures, and that's all.
And I guess so going through your work and
Yes,
editorial, I've seen so you do editorial work as well.
yes, yes. For my Claire Serbia, I did some bottles of cosmetic products. I love to do them actually.
Look at these, some of these are absolutely beautiful. And I think,
Thank you.
you know, you could really imagine them on products. You could imagine editorials. You could see them in advertising. You know, there's some real graphic design thinking here. We've also,
Yeah.
you know, this sort of minimalist way of working. It has a very, like, this is very editorial, where this is very advertising.
Yes,
There's a sort of,
that second, that black one, black-haired one, was something that I did quite with just a black pen. That here is not so detailed as the marker ones. That was one of my, I don't know, that to make something new, I was inspired. I don't know.
and because we always talk, so one of the big conversations that we have is about inspiration. So where do you get your inspiration? So you've worked in pharmacy and you're going, I need inspiration. What did you do?
But I've studied pharmacy, and that's why I need some colors in my life. And I started to look some magazines, some books. I love Antonio Lopez. Antonio Lopez is master for me, and I wanted to learn to do something colorful for myself also. So basically, from everyday life, from other artists, and that's all.
So we've got some really nice techniques and styles here. Um, you know, there's some lovely work. I think editorially, you know, there's so much potential. Um, I guess my next question, you know, you're working for designers, but I see so much potential for editorial and potential in advertising. Do you have an agent?
No,
No. Would you want an agent?
I would love to have an agent, but eventually, I don't know if I'm good enough to have it right now in this moment. But eventually, I would love.
Have you approached an agent, or you just are waiting?
No, no,
Okay.
no. I'm just self-taught and I'm learning still.
Right. Okay. So you still feel like you're progressing, but you don't feel confident enough to actually
Yes,
have an agent or an illustrator. Well, once we open it out to the panel, we'll see what they think, and they'll give us some feedback in a minute. But I think, you know, there's some really great styles here. There's opportunities for wallpaper, prints.
yes.
You know, there's so many things you can do, sort of yourself. Have you done much live work?
I've had one live work, and that was in July, I think. Some Barbie event.
A
We don't
Barbie
have.
event.
Yeah. I love to see when someone do live events, but here we don't have much opportunity to do. So I don't know. I would love to one day.
Yeah, because there's some great work here, and I think because one of the illustrators who we had as a judge, Francesco Liacona, he
I love him.
I thought you would, but do you follow him as a journey? Because he's really interesting to watch as a self-promoter. He's like what I would call the master of self-promotion.
Yes, I
And
agree.
every time I see he's on LinkedIn, he's on Pinterest, he's on Twitter, he's on Instagram, he's on TikTok. I've never known anyone to be everywhere every day promoting. And I guess looking at what he does, and he has an agent as well, but that hardcore promotion. And at the moment, you're just doing your website, you've got your work, and you're just doing Instagram. What else do you
Yeah.
do?
Pinterest, and that's all.
And do you get any work from Pinterest or you get nothing?
No, I'm mostly based on Instagram.
Mostly,
So
but mostly Instagram.
yes,
So,
yes,
so I'm just gonna hopefully has it changed to Instagram? Yeah. So on Instagram, like, look, you've got a lot of followers. So when you started, was it easy to get followers, or what did you do? Because you've got a lot of people who like your work. You've got a lot of followers. You don't follow that many people, which is quite interesting. And if we look down, you do there's lots of work happening all the time. This was lovely to see. And I love your little video work and the way you present your things on the wall. You're doing it yourself, which is quite cool. It's not too over, um, uh, like the professionalism of the video is quite
yes, yes,
at home rather than it feels like you've got a big light and you're over filming. So it's quite nice. So it's good to see, these and you're working in a sketchbook, which is really nice. And you've got these
yes.
lovely illustrations. They're honestly, they're amazing.
Also, alcohol marker illustration.
And it's funny to use them in a sketchbook because sometimes they bleed. You have problems
Yeah.
with them. So
They
it,
always bleed.
they always, yeah. That was, I remember teaching because we had to have certain paper that was coated paper so it didn't bleed. But it looks so much nicer on cartridge paper in a
Put some
sketchbook.
sheet paper underneath, but you can see that when you.
Ah, okay. So a little trick. And this
Yeah,
this this one I've just shared. It's
yeah.
really nice. The details in here and the
I loved her face. So interesting. It was so interesting for me. I like the glow, the earring. Here, I don't know. I have some obsession with profiles. I think
but
because
you've
I often
also
do
got
them.
these lovely highlights of green you've brought into the side of the face. So there's a
Yeah.
real understanding of bringing color into the work everywhere.
Yes.
Like, look, even in the hair, there's beautiful colors coming into the hair, into the eyebrows, and all the details around the eyes. There's some real
Yes.
features there. So with regards to Instagram, because we have lots of people on here and they're saying, how do you grow Instagram? What do you do? I'm fascinated, like what you do. How did you grow such a good audience? You've got a great audience.
Yeah. As I already said, I started in 2019, and I was just trying to draw and to put my work every day. I know some people don't want to show their work. They think that they're bad, but they don't know what can happen, what can be at the end. And I just started to post my work like regularly. Um, I was following some people that I think that they are good for my art. I don't know if you know some pages share works of young artists. I don't know, art blogger and etc. And I was following them and trying to tag them so they can reshare my work. And that's when you are starting. That's I think a great start for someone.
So mainly sharing your work with bloggers.
Yes, art
Wow.
bloggers that are sharing. other illustrations of artists, and that's okay for the beginning.
Okay. And then so we've done the blogger. Where do I get what do you do next? How do you build up a language? Like what did you do? Or you're just I'm just gonna have fun and I'm just gonna do what I want, or is there a plan?
I had a fun, I had just fun, and I just draw regularly, posted. Then I like to comment to other people. Really, communication is very important. When you support someone, that other person supports you, and that's all basically. Never paid anything. That's just my work.
So it's a good idea to comment on other illustrators' work,
Yes.
and then you
Yes.
build up a bond. And because you're commenting, they're kind of reciprocating by going, "Your work's lovely, my work." And Instagram loves this sort of dialogue of comments. And did you research about Instagram? Because a lot of our audience also research about Instagram's what is required to make you be get more followers or more likes. Did you do any research?
No, never did that. Never. Just I was just posting regularly, and that was maybe good for that time because now you have to make reels to be more engaged, and it was a lot easier back then, I think.
Right. So you think it's got a bit harder.
Yes,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah. And do you feel so when you look because I'm looking here like this might have 170 and then this has 2,500
Yeah.
and has lots of comments. Why? It's hard to guess. It's quite a difficult one to kind of work out. So it's very hard to work out Instagram because we look at this image and we look at this. Maybe so if you saw an image like this and it gets this much feedback, do you respond
Yes.
to that? Do you think, that image got really good response? Maybe I need to do more shoes.
No, I didn't do like that. Uh, I think that people love when something is detailed and they love bright colors. I don't
Right.
know. That's basically it. And when I do some drawings, I draw whatever I like. I don't draw shoes because they are shoes. If you understand me.
Yeah. And I guess from your audience, because
Yes.
what was interesting, why I wanted to speak to you was because you were illustrating as if you were a fashion designer. When I look at this, this is the sort of thing, and look, showing the sort of swatches of a detail. A fashion designer would really love to look at your work and go, this could help me draw my collection, and also you're getting work from this. So it's quite good to see the work that you're showing is the work that you're getting a lot of work for, and it's keeping you going, and it's quite an interesting thing to do. And I think it's quite a cool. Is this sketchbook the fashionary sketchbook, or is
Yes. Yes.
okay.
A5.
Okay, because I've seen you posting that quite a lot and sharing it.
Yes, actually, I was loving Fashionary way before I started working with them, and they were in 2021. There was a competition, Fashionary X Copic, and I won some of the first three places, and I got their sketchbook. So that's how I started.
Right, and have you got a good relationship with them now?
Yes, yes, we are now working.
Okay. And what you're doing illustrations for their books or illustrations just in general, or what's the relationship? How does it
Yeah,
work?
I have affiliate link.
Okay. Right. So they're doing affiliated marketing through you.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So that's quite an interesting. We've noticed that quite a lot as well, is this sort of affiliated marketing has grown. And you've got some nice, these are quite cool little animations as well. They're quite fun and playful. And you could imagine. So also another question is, do you do any analytic research on Instagram? Who's your viewer? Who's your main audience, age group? Do you ever look at that?
I looked at that earlier when I was starting, And I think that Asia was the best marketing for me, and people middle aged, I don't know.
Okay.
Now I did,
So
yes,
not such a young audience. Okay.
yes.
So there's some nice bits on here, I think. So I guess we've got some people on here, and it would be nice for them to, if they've got any questions. So hopefully they can. Let me just unshare, and
Okay.
they can kind of join in. Let me stop sharing. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to either put it in the chat, or I can, or you can unmute, or let me just see. I know Patricia's usually got a question, or Claire, you've been doing a lot. So anyone has any questions, you can fire them out, of any thoughts, because everybody on here is trying to, similar to you, grow an audience, get new work. Live illustration's quite big in England, and I guess the US and Paris. But I can see, there you go. Patricia, have you got a question?
Hi, I just wanted to congratulate Isadora on her beautiful work.
Thank
I
you.
love I love your images. I also love your composition, and I love the way you've got a flow on your Instagram page where one image relates to another image. You leave areas of your drawings blank so that the focus is on you're in control of what the focus is on, like the shine on the hair or whatever. The other thing I noticed was in your layout, your flat lay before you photograph for Instagram, you include the alcohol markers regularly as part of the composition. Is that like a conscious thing that you chose to do? Or did it just happen and you liked it?
I like to share just with what I use for my drawings. I think it would be
All right, yeah.
not like a contrast. I would like to be, I don't know, natural, to see with what I work.
Yeah. So you're showing the materials you're using to create the drawings.
And
I
never
think
putting some markers that are not used in that drawing.
Yeah, it looks really well because it actually works as a composition tool. You know, it helps break the square of the image. And I know when Patrick was admiring the beautiful kind of alligator boot that got all of the follows and comments and things, I can totally understand why people adored it. It's absolutely sex on wheels, girl.
Thank you.
No, I am very impressed, and I am so proud of you at your age to be doing so tremendously well. And I think you're going to fly in the future.
Oh,
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you.
No, you're welcome. I'm not just being nice. I mean it.
Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patricia. So anyway, it was great to kind of meet you and see your work, and get people to have a sort of an experience into what you do, because you're sort of what I would call a new wave illustrator, someone who's using technology, Instagram and social media to promote their practice. Your background is in chemistry, similar to Maxim Sergeyev from Russia. He's similar. So his background, he was a pharmacist. I think he still is, but I think he mixes many things together. He was like a chemist. So quite interesting. Yeah, so it's interesting to see like these sort of chemistry people who are kind of moving across into drawing and using markers and pencils and working in this way. So it's fascinating
Patrick,
to hear.
may I interrupt? Sorry, it was one small little question I forgot to ask Isadora. Does she work digitally at all?
I started later in 2023 when I got my first iPad.
Yeah. God bless the iPad. God bless Procreate.
Yes, but I love paper. I love to touch paper, to touch markers, to feel it just in my hands.
Yeah, I can see that. And actually, I can understand why sometimes in life one starts out with what's considered a wise, sensible, responsible choice, like being a chemist. But then you're so, no, I want to be an artist. I think that's what happened to you.
Yes, yes, yes. You know, we were just drawing epaulettes and some bottles, some glasses, nothing with too much color, and we had just like white cement inside.
Yeah. Your heart was broken. I can also feel, like, from an Irish background, your mother and father would want you to have a very good, sensible job with a pension, right? And if you said to your mum and dad, well, actually, I want to be an artist, a fashion illustrator, I think they'd say, oh, not good.
You know. Yes, yeah, they always will.
No, you're doing fine. You've got so many followers. I am just so impressed. So impressed.
Thank you so much.
Isadora, I had one more question. One of the other artists asked, where do you find
That's me, Don Patrick.
Where do you find your sources of inspiration? As in your referencing for your drawings?
I like to just watch some runway shows and just scroll down to see some detailed, I don't know, looks, some earrings, some great hair, great makeup, textured clothes. Also, I like to watch other artists' work, some books, magazines. That's all.
Good. Okay. Super. For some reason, I think our internet's playing up today, but that was brilliant, Isadora. Thank you for your time and sharing some information with us. It was a pleasure to have you. I think we've lost her.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so honored.
Good. Okay. Thank you. I think we've lost your internet. So, Isadora, thank you
Do
so
you hear
much.
me?
I can hear you. It was cutting out. So, but thank you for your time and efforts and everything. It was great to hear from you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so honored.
Super. Thank you, Isadora. It was a pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.